A poor mother walks past a bakery with her daughter. The billionaire overhears their conversation and does something unbelievable. The bakery window shone like an impossible promise. Danielle stopped on the sidewalk, feeling the weight of her empty purse on her shoulder and an even tighter squeeze in her chest. Emma was by her side, her blue eyes glued to the golden loaves of bread, the frosting-covered cakes, the pies that looked like they were straight out of a distant dream. The smell wafting from inside was almost cruel. Fresh bread, melted butter, freshly brewed coffee. It all floated in the afternoon air, teasing, reminding Danielle of everything she couldn't give her daughter at that moment. "Mommy." Emma's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "I'm really hungry." Danielle closed her eyes for a second. Just a second, because she couldn't afford to fall apart right there, in the middle of the street, with her daughter looking at her as if she could solve anything. But the truth was, she couldn't solve anything. Not that day. Maybe not for the next few days either. "I know, sweetheart." Danielle knelt, placing her hands on her daughter's small shoulders. Emma's blonde hair shone under the afternoon light, messy after a full day of walking around the city. "But Mommy doesn't have any money right now." The words came out heavy. Each one cost more than Danielle wanted to admit. Emma didn't cry. She never cried about these things. At 5 years old, she had already learned that some questions didn't have easy answers. But the way she bit her lower lip, trying to be strong, broke Danielle's heart into a million pieces. "It's okay." Emma forced a smile and took her mother's hand, her small fingers intertwined with Danielle's. "We can eat at home later." Danielle felt a lump in her throat. At home. As if there was anything waiting for them besides an empty cupboard and overdue bills piled up on the table. She stood up, squeezing her daughter's hand, and started to walk. Each step felt heavier than the last. Her sneakers were worn out, the soles no longer protecting her from the cold pavement. Emma walked beside her, too quiet for a 5-year-old. How had she ended up here? How had a girl who started college full of dreams turned into someone who couldn't even buy her daughter a loaf of bread? The answer was simple and painful. Life happened, and she had to choose. She always had to choose. Across the street, Logan Fletcher watched the scene. He was leaving a meeting with an important client, his head still full of projects and numbers, when something caught his attention. It wasn't the bakery, though he passed by it every day. It was the blonde woman kneeling on the sidewalk, talking to a little girl who was staring at the window as if she were looking at a forbidden treasure. There was something about that image that bothered him. It wasn't pity, it was recognition. Logan knew that look. It was the look of someone trying to hold it all together when everything is falling apart. He crossed the street without much thought. His steps were firm, decisive, but when he got close to them, he hesitated. Danielle was already walking away, her back to him, with the little girl holding her hand. "Excuse me." Danielle stopped. She turned slowly, with the look of someone who was already expecting trouble. Emma hid a little behind her mother, only her curious eyes peeking out. Logan noticed the immediate tension. She thought he was just another stranger wanting something. "And she was right to be cautious. Sorry to bother you," he began, choosing his words carefully. "But I overheard you talking in front of the bakery, and—" he pointed to the shop. "If you'd like, I can treat you to something to eat. You can order whatever you want." Danielle stood still, processing. Her green eyes, tired but still beautiful, studied the man in front of her. He was tall, well-dressed, in a suit that probably cost more than she used to make in 2 months when she had a job. Dark, well-cut hair, serious brown eyes, but not threatening. "That's not necessary," she replied, trying to sound firm. "We're fine." Logan noticed the pride in her voice. He knew that tone well. It was the same one he used when he didn't want to show weakness. "I know," he said calmly. "But, look, I know this must seem strange. A random guy offering you food on the street." He ran a hand through his hair, clearly uncomfortable. "But it's nothing more than that, just, you need it, and I can help." "It's as simple as that." Emma tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mommy." Her voice was almost inaudible. "I really am very hungry." And there it was. the raw, naked truth coming from the mouth of her 5-year-old daughter. Danielle looked at Emma, then at the man, then at the bakery window. The smell of fresh bread reached them where they stood, a reminder that it had been over a day since they had eaten properly. She had 2 options: accept a stranger's help and feed her daughter, or hold on to her pride and keep walking while Emma starved. It wasn't really a choice. "All right," Danielle agreed, her voice low, "but just something simple." Logan nodded and walked to the bakery door, holding it open and gesturing for them to go in first. The warmth of the place enveloped Danielle as soon as she stepped inside. The smell of bread, coffee, and butter was so good, it was almost painful. Emma held her mother's hand tighter, her eyes wide at the sight of such abundance. There were all kinds of bread on the shelves, whole cakes in the refrigerated display, pies, pastries, savory snacks. It was a world of possibilities that seemed unreal for someone who didn't know when their next meal would be. "Pick a table," Logan said, pointing to the seats near the window. "I'll order at the counter." "What would you like?" Danielle opened her mouth to ask for something simple, but Emma was faster. "Can I have some bread and butter?" the girl asked, shy but hopeful. "And milk." Logan smiled. It was a small but genuine smile. "You can have whatever you want. They have chocolate cake over there. Would you like a slice?" Emma's blue eyes lit up. But she looked at her mother first, asking for silent permission. Danielle nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "You can, sweetie." They sat down while Logan went to the counter. Danielle watched her daughter look around, amazed, as if she were in a castle. It was just a bakery, but for Emma, in that moment, it was everything. The girl ran her fingers over the clean table, looked at the pictures on the wall, and watched the other people eating peacefully. People who didn't have to choose between eating and paying rent. Logan returned a few minutes later with a full tray. Assorted breads, cakes, juices, milk, pies. More food than 2 people could possibly eat. "I thought it would be better to get a variety," he explained, placing everything on the table. "That way you can choose." Emma didn't wait. She grabbed a still warm piece of fresh bread, spread butter on it with the small knife, and took the first bite. She closed her eyes, savoring it as if it were the best thing in the world. Danielle ate slowly, trying to maintain her composure, but she was starving, and the food was too good. Every bite was a mix of relief and shame. Logan sat across from them, with only a cup of coffee in his hands. He didn't eat anything. He just watched in silence as they satisfied their hunger. "Thank you," Danielle said after a few minutes, wiping her mouth with a napkin. "Really, you didn't have to do this." "I know," Logan shrugged. "But I wanted to." Emma was on her second piece of cake when she looked at Logan with that unfiltered curiosity only children have. "Are you rich?" "Emma," Danielle scolded her, mortified, but Logan laughed. A short but genuine laugh. "It's okay." He looked at Emma. "I guess so. I'm lucky to have a good job." "What job?" "I'm an architect. I design houses and buildings. Like those big drawings with a ruler." "Exactly like that." Emma seemed impressed, as if he had said he designed castles. Danielle was growing more and more uncomfortable. She didn't like charity. She didn't like owing favors, but there she was, accepting food from a stranger because she had no choice. Logan noticed the shift in the mood. "I'm sorry if I'm being intrusive," he said, looking at Danielle. "I just thought I could help. And we need it." Danielle was direct. There was no point in pretending. "Sure, but that doesn't mean I feel good about it." Logan nodded, respecting her honesty. "I understand." They sat in silence for a moment. Emma kept eating, oblivious to the tension, enjoying every piece of cake. "Do you live around here?" Logan asked. "Sort of." Danielle didn't offer details. "We're trying to start over." "Start over." She hesitated. She didn't usually open up about her life to strangers, but something in the way he asked, without judgment, made her continue. "Things haven't been easy. I lost my job a few months ago. I'm looking for something new, but with Emma..." She looked at her daughter. "It's complicated. Most places want someone available all the time, someone who can stay late, work weekends." I can't do that. Logan listened without interrupting. Do you have family? Anyone who can help? Danielle shook her head. No. I lost my parents when I was younger, and her father, her voice hardened, was never in the picture, right from the start. Logan saw the pain hidden behind the words. It wasn't self-pity, it was just a fact. A hard reality she carried alone. That must be tough, he said sincerely. It is. Danielle didn't try to hide it. But we manage. We always have. Emma finished eating and leaned her head on her mother's shoulder, satisfied and sleepy. She's beautiful, Logan commented. She looks a lot like you. Danielle smiled for the first time. A small, but real smile. 5 people say that she has my eyes, my blonde hair, but her personality is all her own. Logan stayed for a few more minutes, talking. Simple questions about Emma, about what Danielle did before. She told him she worked as a receptionist, that she was organized, punctual. Normal things that made Danielle feel human again. And Danielle, slowly, relaxed. He wasn't judging. He wasn't offering miracle solutions. He was just listening. When they finished, Logan asked for the check and paid without making a fuss. They left the bakery together, the cold night air contrasting with the warmth inside. Emma yawned, still clinging to her mother's hand. Look, Logan began, stopping on the sidewalk. I know you don't know me. And I know you must be tired of people offering help that never comes. But he took a card from his pocket and handed it to her. If you want, stop by my office. Maybe I can help you. Danielle took the card. Logan Fletcher, architect. It had an address, phone number, and email. Help how? With a job. Nothing too elaborate, but something that works with your schedule. I need someone to organize files, help with scheduling. And you can bring Emma if you need to. Danielle was silent. It sounded too good to be true. Why? She asked. Why do you want to help me? Logan thought about the answer. Because I can, he said simply. And because I think everyone deserves a chance. You seem like someone who just needs an opportunity. Danielle held the card carefully. I'll think about it. No pressure. Logan took a step back. If you show up, great. If not, that's okay too. He waved at Emma, who waved back with a sleepy smile, and he turned to leave. Thank you, Danielle called out. Her voice was low but firm. For the food and for the offer. Logan looked back and nodded. You're welcome. Good luck to you both. Danielle stood there, her daughter holding one hand and the card in the other, watching the man disappear into the night. Emma tugged on her sleeve. He was nice, wasn't he, Mommy? Yes, he was, sweetheart. Are we going to go there? Danielle looked at the card again. Part of her wanted to throw it away, not to trust, not to get her hopes up. But another part, the part that was still fighting, wanted to try. Maybe, she replied, putting the card in her pocket. I don't, we'll see. But deep down, she already knew she would go, because when you're drowning, you can't ignore an outstretched hand. She started walking with Emma down the empty street. The cold wind hit her face, but it didn't matter. They had eaten. And now they had something more, something inside her, something that had been dormant for a long time, began to awaken. Hope. Small, fragile, but there. Still alive. Danielle held on to Logan's card for 3 days before she worked up the courage to go to his office. She spent those 3 days thinking of all the reasons not to go. He had probably forgotten. The offer was just him being polite and nothing serious. She would get there only to find out there was no job. Or worse, that he expected something in return. But on the 3rd day, when Emma asked if they were going to visit the nice man from the bakery, Danielle realized she had no choice. She had to try. The address led them to an elegant building in the city center. Glass and metal gleamed under the morning sun. Danielle looked down at her own clothes, the most presentable pair of jeans she owned, a simple but clean shirt, and took a deep breath. Here we go, sweetie. She held Emma's hand and they walked inside. The lobby was spacious, with a marble floor that echoed every step. Emma looked around with wide eyes, impressed by the size of everything. There were huge plants in the corners, a glass reception desk, and well-dressed people hurrying across the hall. Danielle found his name on the directory, 4th floor, Fletcher Architecture. In the elevator, Emma sat on the mirrored floor, swinging her legs and watching her reflection. Danielle tried to calm her racing heart. Her hands were sweating. She discreetly wiped them on her jeans. The doors opened onto a bright hallway. Signs pointed to different offices, lawyers, accountants, consultants. She followed it to the end and stopped in front of a frosted glass door with silver letters, Fletcher Architecture. Danielle knocked before entering. The office was exactly what she had imagined. Modern, organized, filled with natural light pouring through large windows, drafting tables, computers, plants hanging in minimalist pots, and models, several scale models on glass shelves, each representing a different project. Emma let out a soft gasp of pure admiration. Logan was sitting at a desk in the back, focused on something on his computer. He was wearing a white shirt with the sleeves rolled up and reading glasses that Danielle hadn't seen before. When he heard the door, he looked up. His face lit up with genuine surprise. "You came." He stood up quickly, taking off his glasses and placing them on the desk. "I thought you might not show up. I almost didn't," Danielle admitted, still standing by the entrance. "But we need the help." Logan motioned for them to come in. Emma needed no further encouragement. She ran straight to the shelves with the models, her eyes glued to the miniature constructions. Each one was a small-scale work of art. Buildings, houses, entire complexes recreated in perfect detail. "Be careful, sweetie," Danielle warned automatically. "She can look all she wants." Logan approached, easily crouching down beside Emma. "Do you like little houses?" "It's so tiny." Emma pointed to a model of a residential building with minuscule balconies. "It looks like a magical little town," Logan smiled. It was the first time Danielle had seen his full smile, and it changed his whole face. It made him look younger, lighter. The stress lines around his eyes disappeared. "It's a scale model," he explained to Emma patiently. "We imagine it before we build it. We make the project tiny first, to see how it will look for real. And then you make it big for real." "Exactly. All of these here became real buildings. This one," he pointed to a larger model, "is on the other side of the city. If we go there, you can see it." Emma touched the glass shelf reverently, as if she were seeing precious treasures. Her small fingers left smudges on the clean glass. Logan stood up and looked at Danielle. She was standing in the same spot, her hands clasped in front of her, as tense as a drawn bowstring. "Would you like some coffee? Water?" "No, thank you." She was too nervous to think about drinking anything. "About the job. Were you serious? Do you really need someone?" "Completely serious." Logan gestured to a chair near his desk. "Sit down. Let's talk properly." Danielle perched on the edge of the chair, her back straight, her hands now in her lap. Logan pulled over another chair and sat facing her without the desk between them. Closer, more informal. As if they were having a conversation between equals, not a boss and a potential employee. "I don't have any experience in architecture," Danielle began, wanting to make that clear before setting any expectations. "I've worked as a receptionist in customer service. I know how to use a computer for basic tasks, organize documents, things like that. But nothing too technical." "That's exactly what I need." Logan leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "My office is small. It's just me here most of the time. I have a secretary who comes in twice a week to handle the heavy administrative work. But I need someone here more often. Someone to organize files, answer the phone, schedule client meetings, keep everything running while I focus on the projects." Danielle nodded, processing. It sounded like work she could do, nothing impossible. "And Emma," she glanced at her daughter, who was still mesmerized by the models. "You said she could come with me." "She can. There's a room next door that I use to store material samples and catalogs. I can clear out a space, put in a small table, some toys. She can stay there while you work. Or she can stay here in the office, as long as she doesn't interrupt when I have important client meetings." Danielle processed the information. It sounded too good. There was always a catch when things sounded too good. What would the salary be? Logan named a figure. It wasn't a fortune, but it was fair. It was more than she had earned as a receptionist before losing her job. It was enough to pay rent for a decent place, buy food, clothes for Emma, maybe even save a little at the end of the month. Really? Danielle asked, suspicious. There had to be a mistake. Really? The hours are Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, flexible if you need it. If you have to leave early one day because of Emma, no problem. Just let me know in advance when you can. Danielle looked at her daughter again, then back at Logan. Her green eyes studied his face, searching for any sign of falsehood, of ulterior motives. But she only found sincerity. Why are you doing this? Why offer me a job just like that, out of the blue? Logan sighed, running a hand through his hair. It was a gesture she would learn he made when he was thinking, when he was uncomfortable. Because I really do need the help here, because I'm in a position to offer it, and because... He hesitated, choosing his words. Because I think you'll do a good job. I saw how you are with Emma that night. Organized, careful, present even in a difficult situation. Those are the same qualities I need here in the office. Danielle wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe him so badly it physically hurt her chest. When would I start? Today, if you want and are able to, or tomorrow, or next week. You choose. She took a deep breath. It was a leap of faith, but she had nowhere else to leap. There were no other options knocking on her door. Today is fine. If you can show me what to do, I can start today. Logan's smile was genuine and relieved. Great, let me show you around the office properly then. He stood up and began the tour. He showed her where the physical files were kept, an entire room filled with folders organized by project and date. He explained his system, the logic behind the organization. Current projects in one section, completed projects in another, future projects in a third. Danielle absorbed everything, asking questions when needed, but mostly just observing and memorizing. Logan showed her the small but well-equipped kitchen, the restroom, the conference room with a large glass table, and then he opened the door to the materials room he had mentioned. It was a medium-sized room full of shelves, samples of flooring, tiles, wallpaper, stacked catalogs, boxes with various materials. It was organized, but it was clearly used for storage. I can clear this out in the next few days, he said, looking around thoughtfully. Move these shelves to the corner, make a nice space for Emma. Put in a table, a comfortable chair, maybe some coloring books. You don't have to move your things for us, Danielle protested, not wanting to be a bother. I've been meaning to organize this for a while anyway. This is a good excuse to finally do it. Emma appeared at the door, curious about what they were doing. Mommy, what's in here? This is going to be your corner, Logan said, crouching down to her level again. I'm going to fix it up for you, put in a table for you to draw and play. What do you think? Emma's blue eyes sparkled like two precious gems. Can I draw the little houses I saw out there? You can draw whatever you want. I'll even give you some cool supplies. Danielle felt her chest tighten. He was being too kind. People weren't this kind without wanting something in return. Life had taught her that the hard way. But Emma was happy, and she desperately needed this chance. The first day was strange. Danielle moved around the office with excessive care, as if she might break something valuable at any moment. Logan showed her the file system on the computer, explained how he liked calls to be answered, what information to take down, how he organized his schedule. She absorbed everything quickly. She took notes in a notebook he had given her, asked questions when she had a real doubt, but for the most part, she just observed and learned. She had always been a fast learner. Emma stayed in the side room, which Logan had quickly improvised with a chair from the conference room and some blank paper for drawing. The girl was quiet, busy creating her own versions of the models she had seen. She drew little houses with square windows, rectangular doors, and triangular roofs. At lunchtime, Logan asked if they wanted to order food from a nearby restaurant. I brought sandwiches, Danielle said too quickly. She wasn't going to accept any more food from him. She was an employee now, not a charity case. She had to keep things professional, separate. I have leftover pizza in the fridge, Logan insisted, opening the small kitchen door. I ordered too much last night. It'll just go bad if no one eats it. You'd actually be doing me a favor." Danielle hesitated, but Emma had already heard the magic word, pizza. "Thai pizza, Mommy." The girl's eyes lit up. There was no way to refuse without disappointing her daughter. They ate together at the small round table in the kitchen. Emma chattered about the drawings she had made, showing each one to Logan with childish pride. He looked at each drawing with real, not feigned attention. He asked questions about the colors she chose, about how many windows each house had, praising specific details. Danielle watched the interaction in silence, slowly eating her slice of pizza. Emma was comfortable with him. Natural. She wasn't usually like that with strangers. It took her a while to open up, to trust. The following days settled into a surprisingly natural routine. Danielle arrived at 8 on the dot, always with Emma by her side. Logan was always there before them, with fresh coffee made in the machine. She would organize the files he had left out, answer the calls that started coming in around 9 DAS, and schedule meetings after checking his calendar first. Emma stayed in the little room that Logan had actually organized. He had moved shelves, cleared the space, and put in a small, colorful table he bought and a little chair. He left out colored pencils, crayons, and paper. The girl would spend hours there, drawing, playing quietly, sometimes humming songs her mother taught her. Danielle was efficient. Logan noticed that immediately. She didn't just organize things the way he had shown her, she improved the system. She found more logical ways to file documents, suggested subtle changes that made the workflow smoother. She reorganized the digital files in a way that made more sense. She created a color-coded system for his calendar. "Zark, you're really good at this," he commented at the end of the first week, looking at the computer screen she had completely reorganized. "I like order," Danielle replied simply, without taking her eyes off the spreadsheet she was updating. "I always have. It makes things easier to find." Emma started to open up more as the days went by. At first, she stayed in her little room, too quiet and well-behaved for a 5-year-old. But gradually, she started to venture out. She began appearing at the door of the main office, showing her drawings to her mom. Then she started showing them to Logan too. She asked questions about the models, about the plans spread across his desk. Logan never showed any impatience. He always stopped what he was doing to answer, to look at her drawings with real attention, to give importance to what she said. One afternoon, Danielle found the two of them crouched near a large model, with Logan patiently explaining how the structure of a building worked. "See these columns here?" He pointed with a pen to tiny details. "They hold up everything above them. They're like a person's bones. Without them, the building wouldn't stand." "And what if you take one out?" Emma asked with genuine curiosity. "Then it could collapse. That's why we calculate everything very carefully before we build." Emma's eyes widened, impressed by the responsibility that represented. Danielle watched from her desk, a small smile appearing on her lips without her realizing. It had been a long time since she had seen her daughter so excited, so curious, so happy. The conversations during lunch became more frequent and less tense. Logan asked about simple, everyday things. How their morning was, if Emma had liked a specific drawing she had made, small details of their daily life. Danielle, slowly, began to let her guard down. She mentioned that she liked to read when she had time, that Emma loved bedtime stories. She casually mentioned that they were living in a temporary place, but now that she had a steady salary, she was going to look for something better, more stable. Logan listened with genuine attention. He didn't interrupt with unsolicited advice. He didn't ask questions that were too invasive. He just listened, nodded, and sometimes shared something small about himself as well. One afternoon, he showed up with a new children's book. "I saw this in a bookstore nearby and thought of Emma," he said, almost embarrassed, holding the book as if he wasn't sure if he'd done the right thing. "I thought she might like it. It's about a girl who wants to build houses when she grows up." It was a beautiful book, with colorful illustrations and a hardcover. Emma hugged it, as if it were the most precious treasure in the world. "Thank you, Uncle Logan." Her voice was full of pure joy. Danielle felt that familiar tightness in her chest. that confusing mix of deep gratitude and paralyzing fear. Fear of getting used to this, fear of Emma getting too attached, fear that all of it would suddenly disappear, just like everything good in her life always did. The weeks passed at a strange speed. Danielle became an essential part of the office's operations. She knew where every file was, knew the clients by name, and knew how Logan liked things done even before he needed to explain. Emma also became a natural part of the environment. Logan started leaving better drawing supplies for her, professional colored pencils, quality paper. He even taught her how to make small floor plans, super simplified and child-friendly versions of what he did professionally. The girl absorbed everything like a dry sponge. One day during lunch, Emma asked out of the blue, "Uncle Logan, do you like working alone?" Logan thought about the answer, chewing slowly. "I used to," he answered honestly, looking at the girl and then at Danielle. "I thought I preferred the silence, but now I realize it's much better like this with you two here. The office feels more alive." Emma smiled, satisfied, as if she had received the best compliment in the world. Danielle felt a strange, warm feeling in her chest, a mix of emotions she couldn't, or didn't want to, name yet. Logan had become more than a boss in recent weeks. He asked how she was really doing, not just out of automatic politeness. He noticed when she was more tired than usual, when Emma was more restless. He offered help in small but meaningful ways, without making it seem like she was incapable or needed charity. And the way he treated Emma was something Danielle had never seen in anyone, with infinite patience, as if the girl's time was as important as his own. As if her presence wasn't a tolerated inconvenience, but something that genuinely made his days better. One afternoon, while organizing files in the next room, Danielle heard laughter coming from the main office. She peeked through the slightly open door and saw Logan and Emma on the floor, building something elaborate with wooden blocks he kept in the office for demonstrations. "Now put this one right on top," Logan instructed seriously, as if they were building something real and important. "Carefully, steady hand." Emma placed the block, with her tongue sticking out in total concentration, the tower balanced, standing tall. "I did it!" She clapped her hands. "You did. You have a very steady hand for your age. She'll be an excellent architect one day. Better than you. Definitely better than me." Danielle went back to her desk, feeling that tightness in her chest that was becoming familiar. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for Emma to get so attached. It wasn't fair for her to start feeling that this place was safe, that these people were trustworthy. Because in her experience, good things didn't last. They never lasted. There was always something that ruined everything in the end. But for now, while it lasted, she was going to enjoy it. She would work hard, be the best employee Logan could have. She would save every penny of her salary. She would build a solid foundation for herself and Emma. And maybe, just maybe, allow that fragile, scary hope to grow a little more inside her chest. Just a little. For now. Danielle knew something was wrong when Emma didn't want to draw. It was mid-afternoon on a Wednesday. The office was quiet, just the sound of Logan's keyboard and the humming of the air conditioner. Emma had spent the morning in her little room, but now she was lying on the small sofa in the kitchen, far too quiet. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Danielle knelt beside her daughter, placing a hand on her forehead. It was hot. Very hot. "I'm cold, Mommy," Emma murmured, curled up despite the pleasant temperature in the office. Danielle's heart raced. She knew that tone of voice. It was the same one from when Emma had pneumonia at age 3, when they had spent 3 nights in the hospital and Danielle thought she was going to lose her daughter. "Logan," she called out, trying to keep her voice steady, but failing to completely hide the panic. He appeared at the kitchen door immediately, sensing from her tone that something was wrong. "What happened?" "She has a fever, a high fever." Danielle picked Emma up. The girl was limp, heavy in a way that wasn't normal. "I need to take her to the hospital." Logan didn't hesitate for a second. I'll drive you." "My car is in the garage." "You don't have to. I can get a cab. You have work." "Danielle." He was already grabbing his keys and wallet. "Let's go. Now." The drive to the nearest hospital was a blur of anxiety. Logan drove quickly but carefully, weaving through traffic. Danielle sat in the back with Emma in her lap, the girl shivering even wrapped in her mother's coat. "It's okay, sweetie," Danielle repeated like a mantra, more for herself than for her daughter. "It's okay. We're almost there." Emma didn't answer. She just snuggled closer to her mother's chest. Logan parked in front of the emergency room, ignoring the rules. He helped Danielle out of the car and held the hospital door open. The ER reception was the usual chaos. People waiting in uncomfortable chairs, children crying, the smell of disinfectant mixed with something less pleasant. Danielle went straight to the counter. "My daughter has a very high fever. She needs to be seen now." The receptionist, a middle-aged woman with a tired expression, barely looked up. "Child's name?" "Emma. Emma Carter." "Please, she's burning up. Have a seat over there. They'll call you." "But she needs to be seen now." Danielle's voice came out louder than she intended, laced with desperation. Logan placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Come on, let's sit. They'll call us soon." But Danielle knew how public hospitals worked. She had spent hours waiting before. She looked at her daughter in her lap, at her skin that was too pale, her lips almost colorless. Logan noticed her hesitation. He went back to the counter and leaned forward, speaking quietly but firmly to the receptionist. Danielle didn't hear what he said, but she saw him place his credit card on the counter. 5 minutes later, a nurse appeared calling Emma's name. They were taken to an examination room. The nurse took her temperature, almost 104 degrees, and her blood pressure. She asked about symptoms. How long had she been like this? Had she thrown up? Any headache? Danielle answered everything on autopilot, holding Emma's hand as she lay on the high examination table. The doctor arrived 10 minutes later. He was young, probably a recent graduate, but he had an attentive gaze. He examined Emma carefully, checked her throat, listened to her lungs, felt her stomach. "It seems to be a strong viral infection," he said finally. "I'll order some blood tests to be sure, but that's the most likely culprit. Nothing too serious, but it needs care." "She's going to be okay?" Danielle asked, her voice choked. "Yes, she will. Kids catch these things. With medication and rest, she'll be better in a few days." They drew blood from Emma, who cried softly but didn't complain much. Always so strong, so brave. They gave her a shot to bring the fever down and some pain medicine. "So she needs to be kept under observation for a few hours," the doctor explained. "Just to make sure the fever comes down and stays stable. Then you can go home." A few hours, which could turn into the whole night, depending on how Emma reacted. They were taken to a smaller observation room. It had 4 beds separated by thin curtains. Emma was placed in one of them, with an IV in her arm. She was already less restless, the shot taking effect. Danielle sat in the uncomfortable chair next to the bed, holding her daughter's free hand. Logan stood near the door, not quite sure what to do. "You can go," Danielle said softly, without taking her eyes off Emma. "You must have work. You've already helped so much. I have nothing more important than this." Logan pulled up another chair and sat on the other side of the bed. "I'm staying." "Logan, I'm staying, Danielle," and he stayed. The hours dragged on. Emma slept most of the time, her body finally relaxing with the medication. Danielle didn't let go of her hand for a second. She watched every breath, every movement, every change in the color of her face. Logan left at some point and came back with coffee and sandwiches from a nearby deli. Danielle ate without tasting anything, only because he insisted she needed to eat something. Night began to fall outside. The lights in the observation room seemed brighter in contrast. Other people came and went from the beds beside them. Danielle remained there, a vigilant statue. "She's all I have." The words came out softly, almost a whisper. Danielle wasn't even sure she had spoken aloud until she realized Logan was looking at her. "I lost my parents early," she continued, her eyes still fixed on her daughter's face. "My mom when I was 12. My dad 3 years later. I went to live with an aunt who didn't want me there. I left home as soon as I could." She paused, swallowing hard. "And her father." never wanted anything to do with her from the day I told him I was pregnant. He said it was my problem, that he had nothing to do with it. Logan said nothing, he just listened. It was all on me. The entire pregnancy, the birth, the first few years, every sleepless night, every fever, every scare, just me, always just me. Her voice trembled slightly. If I lose her, I have no one else. I have nothing. You're not going to lose her, Logan said gently. She's going to be fine. You can't guarantee that. I can't. But the doctor said she'll be fine. And she's strong. Look at her. She's a fighter, just like her mom. Danielle finally looked at him. There were tears in her eyes that she was trying to hold back. Why are you here? Why do you care? Logan thought about the answer for a long moment. Because you two matter. I can't really explain it. But you changed something. The office was just work before. Now it's different. It has life. It has a purpose beyond projects and meetings. He looked at Emma sleeping. And she's special. Anyone can see that. Danielle wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Thank you for being here. For everything. You don't have to thank me. Around 10 o'clock at night, the doctor returned to check on Emma. The fever had come down and remained stable. The blood tests confirmed a viral infection, nothing more serious. She could go home with a prescription for medication and instructions to rest. Emma woke up groggy when the nurse removed the IV. She looked around, confused, until she saw her mother. Mommy, I'm here, sweetie. We're going home now. Did Uncle Logan come too? Logan approached, smiling. I did. You gave us quite a scare, little one. Sorry, Emma murmured, still sleepy. You don't have to be sorry. You just need to get better. Logan helped Danielle carry Emma to the car. The girl was awake but weak, leaning between them. In the car, she fell asleep again in the back seat, her head in her mother's lap. What's the address? Logan asked. Danielle hesitated. She hadn't told him exactly where they lived. It was a temporary, small, uncomfortable place. But she had no choice now. She gave him the address. The building was old, in a neighborhood that had seen better days. Logan made no comment. He just helped carry Emma up the stairs. The elevator had been broken for weeks to the 3rd floor. The apartment was tiny. One room that served as a bedroom and living room, a kitchen the size of a closet, and a shared bathroom down the hall. But it was clean. Danielle kept everything organized, tidy. There were plastic flowers in a bottle serving as a vase. Emma's drawings were taped to the wall. She laid her daughter on the narrow bed they shared and covered her with a thin blanket. Logan stood at the door, not coming in too far. He sensed that this was an intimate, private space. Will you be okay on your own? He asked. I will. I've taken care of her when she's sick before. If you need anything, call me. Any time. Thank you, Logan, really. He nodded and left, his footsteps echoing on the old staircase. Danielle locked the door, checked Emma's forehead one more time, still warm but not hot, and lay down beside her daughter. She didn't sleep. She stayed awake all night, just watching, checking her temperature every hour, ready for any emergency. Over the next few days, Emma gradually improved. The fever went away and her appetite slowly returned. Danielle didn't take her to the office while she was still weak. Logan said it was no problem, that she should stay home and take care of her daughter. But he called every day. He asked how Emma was doing, if Danielle needed anything, if she wanted him to bring food or medicine. On the 5th day, Emma was almost fully recovered. Bouncing around the small apartment, complaining that she was bored, the phone rang. It was Logan. How is she? Much better, almost back to normal. That's good to hear. Listen, are you free tomorrow? I wanted to talk to you, outside of the office. Danielle hesitated. Or talk about what? Nothing about work, just talk. Get to know you better. If you want to, of course. It was a strange invitation, but something in his voice was genuine. Okay? Where? There's a coffee shop near the office. Emma can come too if you want. They have toys there. The next day, Danielle got ready with more care than usual. She didn't know why. It was just coffee. But she put on lipstick for the first time in months. She tied her blonde hair back in a neater style. Emma was excited to leave the house. She had been cooped up for too long. The coffee shop was cozy. It had wooden tables, the smell of fresh coffee and bread, and a little corner with toys and books for children. Logan was already there when they arrived, at a table near the window. Emma ran to the toy corner as soon as she saw it. Danielle sat down across from Logan. "She looks much better," he observed, smiling as he watched Emma play. "She is. Thanks for asking every day." They ordered coffee. Logan also ordered a hot chocolate for Emma and some pastries. They talked about light things at first, about the office, about a new project Logan had landed. But gradually, the conversation deepened. "You mentioned you'd started college," Logan said. "What did you want to study?" Danielle stirred her coffee, staring into the dark liquid. "Education. I wanted to be a teacher. I've always loved kids, teaching." She gave a sad smile. "Seems ironic now, doesn't it? Why?" "I got into college through a lot of hard work. I studied for a scholarship and got one. I was in my second semester when I found out I was pregnant." She paused, taking a deep breath. "I tried to keep going at first, but it became impossible. Morning sickness, exhaustion, and then I had no one to leave Emma with when she was born. I didn't have money for daycare. Everything fell on me at once." "You had to choose," Logan said quietly. "It wasn't even really a choice. It was survival. I dropped everything, college, plans, dreams." She looked at her daughter playing, smiling with a teddy bear. "But I don't regret it. She's worth every sacrifice, every sleepless night, every abandoned plan. She's worth it all." Logan watched her face as she spoke. He saw the strength there, the determination, but also the pain of all that had been lost. "You can still go back," he said. "One day, when Emma is a little older. Maybe. But it seems so far away now." "Far away isn't impossible." Danielle gave a small, genuine smile. "You're too optimistic. Or you're too pessimistic," she laughed. A short but real laugh. They talked for over an hour. Logan told her about himself too, about growing up in a stable family, with opportunities he knew he was lucky to have, about how he had dedicated himself so much to his work that he had forgotten to live other parts of his life. "I think we complement each other in a strange way," he said thoughtfully. "You had to grow up too fast. I never really grew up in some areas." Emma came to the table, showing them a drawing she had made with the colored pencils the coffee shop provided. "Look, Mummy, I drew our house, and Uncle Logan's office." Danielle looked at the drawing, two little houses side by side. She, Emma, and Logan were drawn as stick figures with round heads and huge smiles. Something tightened in her chest, something that was a mixture of hope and fear. Logan looked at the drawing too, touched. "It's beautiful, Emma. Can I keep it?" "You can. It's for you." He carefully folded the paper and put it in his pocket. When they left the coffee shop, Danielle felt different, lighter, somehow, as if she had shared a burden she had been carrying alone for far too long. Logan drove them back home. At the door to her building, he hesitated before leaving. "Thank you for today. For trusting me. Thank you for listening." Emma hugged his leg. "See you tomorrow, Uncle Logan." "See you tomorrow, little one." Danielle watched him go, his car disappearing around the corner. That bond that had started at the bakery, that had grown in the office, had just become even stronger. And for the first time in a long time, Danielle wasn't so afraid of it. The weeks following the hospital visit changed something between them. It wasn't anything dramatic. There was no serious talk or defining moment. It was just a subtle shift in how they related to each other, as if an invisible wall had been torn down that night in the waiting room. Logan started asking more questions. Not just polite boss-to-employee questions, but real questions about their lives, about what they liked, about the small details of their day. "What kind of food does Emma like?" he asked one random morning, as they had coffee before the workday began. Danielle looked at him, surprised by the random question. "Pasta. Any kind of pasta. And fruit." "She loves strawberries. Allergic to anything." "No, why do you ask?" Logan shrugged, stirring his coffee. "Just wanted to know, in case I bring something one day." And he did. The next day, he showed up with a small box of fresh strawberries. Emma ate them all during her afternoon snack, her lips turning red from the juice. Another day, he asked what her favorite color was. Danielle replied that it was yellow. The following week, Logan brought new colored pencils, and half of them were shades of yellow. He began to participate more actively in their daily life at the office. Not just working at his desk while they existed in the same space, but truly participating. During their afternoon breaks, when Danielle made tea, Logan would appear in the kitchen. He would sit with them at the small table. They talked about mundane things, about the terrible traffic that morning, about the changing weather, about a drawing Emma had made. Emma would tell long, rambling stories about things she had seen on the street, about dreams she'd had, about imaginary characters who lived in a world of their own inside her head. Logan listened to it all with genuine attention, asking questions, laughing at the right moments. Danielle watched these interactions with a mix of gratitude and something more. Something warmer, softer, something she was trying not to name just yet. One afternoon, Emma was sitting on Logan's lap while he showed her something on the computer, a 3D project that rotated on the screen. The little girl pointed out details, asking 1,000 questions. Why is there a wall here? To divide the rooms. What if there wasn't one? Then it would all be one big space. Some people like it that way. I would like it. It seems bigger. Logan smiled, adjusting her on his lap when she slipped a little. You have good architectural taste. Danielle typed a report at her desk nearby, but she watched from the corner of her eye. Emma was completely comfortable there, as if it were the most natural place in the world for her to be. At the end of the day, as they were getting ready to leave, Emma suddenly asked, "Uncle Logan, are you always going to be with us?" The question came out innocent, curious, but it carried a weight that made Danielle's heart skip a beat. Logan knelt down to the girl's level, taking the question seriously. "Do you want me to always be here?" "I do." "We have fun." He looked at Danielle over Emma's blonde head. "If your mommy lets me, I'll always be here." Danielle felt all eyes on her. Emma's hopeful, Logan's cautious but sincere. She smiled, a small but real smile. "You can stay." The smile that lit up Emma's face was worth any fear Danielle was feeling. The days fell into a comfortable routine. Logan brought coffee in the morning. They worked side by side, each on their own tasks but always aware of the other's presence. Emma moved between her little room and the main office, a constant and welcome presence. There was a growing complicity between them, glances that met when Emma did something funny, shared smiles over inside jokes. Small gestures of care that became automatic. Logan started making Danielle's coffee just the way she liked it without having to ask. She started organizing his desk, the way that worked best for him without needing instructions. They were small things, but they meant something. One Friday morning, Logan arrived with a different expression, excited, almost anxious. "I had an idea," he announced as soon as Danielle and Emma walked in, "about a project." Danielle hung up her purse, turning on her computer. "No, about something for Emma." He turned to the little girl, who was already taking off her jacket. "Do you want to build a model with me, a real one?" Emma's eyes widened. "A model like those?" She pointed to the shelves with his projects. "Yes, but this one will be special. It will be yours. You'll help make everything." "Really?" Her voice came out in an excited squeak. "Can I glue the little windows on?" Logan laughed. "You can glue everything, the windows, the doors, the walls. This is your town. You decide what it will be like." Emma jumped, literally jumped for joy. "Mommy, did you hear? I'm going to make a town." Danielle smiled, touched by her daughter's excitement. "I heard, sweetie, that's so cool." She looked at Logan, wanting to thank him but not quite sure how to express what she was feeling. He understood without needing words. Logan set aside Friday afternoon to start the project. He cleared the large conference table and spread out materials. There was cardstock, special glue, small rulers, scissors, pencils, paints. Emma was vibrating with anticipation. "Let's start with the planning," Logan explained, grabbing a piece of paper and a pencil. "First, we draw how we want it to be. Then we build it." "Like a model of the model?" Emma asked, finding the concept fascinating. "Exactly," They sat side by side. Logan held the pencil, but Emma was the one dictating. "I want a big house, with 3 windows in the front." 3 windows. Great. How many floors? 2. No, 3. Can it have 3? It can have as many as you want, Emma thought seriously, biting her lower lip the way she did when she was concentrating. 3 floors, and a garden in the front. Perfect. What else? Can it have a tree? It can have a whole forest if you want. They spent an hour just on the planning. Emma described. Logan drew and asked technical questions that the girl answered with the seriousness of a real architect. Danielle watched from her desk, pretending to work but actually completely distracted by the scene before her. Logan was patient in a way she had never seen in anyone. When Emma changed her mind for the 5th time about how many doors she wanted, he simply erased and redrew. When she asked for the 1,000th time if she could add one more thing, he always said yes. There was tenderness there. Real, genuine tenderness. On Saturday, Logan sent a text asking if they wanted to continue the project. Danielle was surprised it was the weekend, his personal time, but Emma was so excited she couldn't refuse. They went to the office. Logan had brought more materials. He had even bought special paint and tiny brushes. "Today, we build for real," he announced. They spent hours working. Logan cut the larger pieces, but Emma glued everything. Her small hands worked carefully, her tongue sticking out in concentration. "Does this little window go here?" she asked at every step, "wherever you think it looks best." "Here, then." She glued it with surprising precision for a 5-year-old. Danielle brought lunch from a nearby restaurant. They ate quickly and got back to work. Emma didn't want to stop. She was completely immersed in the project. By late afternoon, the basic structure was ready. A 3-story house with yellow windows, red doors, and a front garden made of shredded green paper, imitating grass. "It's looking beautiful." Emma clapped her hands. "It really is," Logan agreed, examining the work with a professional eye. "You have a natural talent." Emma beamed at the compliment. Over the next week, they worked on the model during their breaks. They added small details. Logan taught Emma how to make tiny trees with wire and paper. They made a small fence. They painted everything carefully. Danielle watched their work sessions with a constant tightness in her chest. She saw the way Logan leaned in to show Emma something, how he celebrated her every small accomplishment, how he treated the project with the same seriousness he would a real job. And she saw how Emma blossomed under this attention, how she laughed more, talked more, dreamed bigger. One night after they had gone home, Danielle was lying next to Emma in their narrow bed. "Mommy," Emma whispered in the dark. "Yes, sweetie." "Is Uncle Logan our friend?" Danielle thought about the answer. "Yes, he is. A very special friend. I like him a lot." "I know. He likes you a lot too." Emma was quiet for a moment. "Do you like him too?" The question caught Danielle off guard. "Of course I do. He's very kind to us." "No, Mommy." "Do you like him, differently?" Danielle felt her face grow warm in the darkness. "Go to sleep, sweetie. It's late." But the question echoed in her head for hours after Emma fell asleep. The following Friday, 2 weeks after they started the project, Logan arrived with a box. "I have a surprise," he announced. Emma ran to him. "What is it?" "What is it?" "Close your eyes." She obeyed, trembling with anticipation. Logan placed something on the conference table and removed the cloth covering it. "You can open them." Emma opened her eyes and let out a shriek of joy. It was their model. But professionally finished, Logan had taken it home and added the final touches. It had a varnished wooden base. The colors were more vibrant, the details more refined, and there was a small metal plaque on the front. Emma got closer, slowly reading the engraved letters. Villa Emma. Her voice was soft, emotional. "It's yours," Logan said, crouching beside her. "We made it together, but the design is all yours. You decided every single detail." Emma touched the plaque with reverence. "It has my name on it." "It does, because this town belongs to Emma." She turned and hugged Logan tightly, her small arms wrapped around his neck, her face buried in his shoulder. "Thank you. Uncle Logan. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. Danielle watched from the doorway, her eyes burning with tears she tried to hold back. Logan hugged Emma back, his eyes closed, clearly touched as well. When they separated, Emma picked up the model carefully, as if it were the most precious treasure on the planet. "Can I take it home?" "Of course." "It's yours." Emma took the model to her little room, placing it in a special spot where she could admire it. Logan stood up, wiping his hands on his pants, suddenly embarrassed. Danielle approached him. "You didn't have to do that. Spend so much time, so much work. I wanted to... It was..." He searched for the right words. "It was one of the best things I've done in a long time, building something just for the sake of building. No client, no deadline, no pressure, just for the joy of creating something with her." "She will keep this forever," Danielle said softly. "The model and the memory of making it with you." Logan looked at her, something intense in his gaze. "I hope so. Because I'll keep it too." The moment stretched between them, filled with unsaid things, with feelings that were growing naturally, without rush, but growing nonetheless. Emma came running out. "Mommy, can I show everyone on the street?" Danielle laughed, breaking the moment. "Yes, you can. But be careful with it." That night, Emma slept with the model next to her bed on a little shelf Danielle improvised, and Danielle stayed awake longer than usual, thinking about how their lives had changed, how a simple gesture at a bakery had turned into this, into belonging, into connection, into something that was starting to look a lot like family. She touched Logan's card that she still kept in her wallet. That piece of paper she had carried for days before working up the courage. It was funny how things changed, how life could surprise you when you least expected it. And for the first time in a long time, Danielle allowed that fragile hope to grow a little more. Without fear this time, just accepting. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Logan was in the office reviewing the plans for a residential project when the phone rang, an international number. He answered without much thought. "Logan Fletcher." "Mr. Fletcher, good morning. My name is Richard Campbell from Campbell & Associates in London." Logan sat up straighter in his chair. Campbell & Associates was one of the biggest architecture firms in Europe. Every architect knew the name. "Good morning. How can I help you?" "Actually, we were hoping you might be interested in helping us. We have an exceptional project starting in Dubai, a luxury residential complex. We're assembling the team, and your name was recommended by a few contacts." Logan listened as Richard detailed the project. It was huge, ambitious. The kind of job that would define a career. Glass towers, cutting-edge design, a practically unlimited budget. "It would be a leadership position," Richard continued, "coordinating the entire design team. An estimated duration of 2 years. We can discuss compensation, but I assure you it will be very generous." "That's an impressive offer," Logan said, his head spinning. "We'd like an answer by the end of the week. It needs to be someone who can start next month. I know it's short notice, but the project has tight deadlines." After a few more details, the call ended. Logan sat there, the phone still in his hand, processing what he had just heard. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. The kind of project that comes along once in a career. International prestige, a salary that would probably be 3 times what he was making now. His name in architecture magazines around the world, 2 years in Dubai, leading something monumental. "Who was that?" Logan looked up. Danielle was at the door holding a folder of documents. "A firm in London, offering a project in Dubai." "Dubai?" Danielle came in, placing the folder on his desk. "Wow, must be something big." "It is, very big." Logan ran a hand through his hair. 2 years. Leading the entire design team. Something in his tone made Danielle stop organizing the papers. "That's incredible, Logan. It's the kind of thing you've always wanted, isn't it?" It was, or it had been. "They want an answer by Friday." Danielle nodded slowly, her face carefully neutral. "Then you have a lot to think about." She left the room before he could reply. The next few days were strange. Logan tried to work normally, but his mind was divided. He researched the project online. He found articles, concept images, interviews with the developers. It was even bigger than Richard had described. Any architect in the world would kill for that opportunity. But every time he thought about accepting, something pulled him back. Emma appeared in his office on Wednesday afternoon, dragging the small stool she used. "Uncle Logan, can you help me with a drawing?" "Of course. What do you want to draw?" "A big city, like the one you told me about, with tall buildings that reach the sky." Logan looked at the little girl, with her blonde hair falling into her eyes, her open and confident smile. She had grown so much in the months they had been together, more talkative, more confident, happier. "How about we do it together?" he suggested. They spent an hour drawing. Emma chattered about what each building would be like, how many people would live there, whether it would have parks and trees. Logan watched her draw with the colored pencils he had given her, her tongue sticking out in concentration. He thought about not seeing this anymore, about being on the other side of the world while she grew up here. Something tightened in his chest. On Thursday morning, Logan arrived at the office early before Danielle and Emma. He needed to think. He walked through the empty space. He ran his hand over the desks, looked at the models on the shelves. His gaze stopped on Villa Emma, which he had left there after making a smaller copy for Emma to take home. He picked up the model carefully. He remembered every afternoon building it, Emma's laughter, the way her eyes lit up every time they added a new detail. He put the model back and went to the window. Down below, he saw Danielle and Emma arriving. They were crossing the street, hand in hand. Emma was skipping a few steps, and Danielle was smiling at something her daughter was saying. Logan watched until they disappeared into the building's entrance. He thought about the first time he had seen them. In front of that bakery, Emma staring at the window with longing, Danielle trying to be strong. He thought about everything that had happened since then, how they had changed the office, not just by organizing it or filling a space, but by bringing life, purpose, joy. The office used to be just work, projects, clients, deadlines. He arrived early, left late, and lived and breathed architecture. He was good at what he did, but it was empty, lonely. Now there was shared coffee in the morning. There was Emma's laughter during the day. There were conversations with Danielle about things that weren't work. There were small moments that made everything more worthwhile. The door opened. Emma came running in as always, and Logan heard her voice in the hallway. "Good morning, Uncle Logan." He turned from the window, smiling. "Good morning, little one." Emma ran to him, hugging his legs. "I brought a new drawing for you to see." Danielle came in behind her more slowly. Her eyes met Logan's for a second before she looked away. There was tension there. Expectation, as if she were waiting for an announcement. Logan realized she knew he was deciding, and she probably thought she knew what the decision would be. After all, why would anyone turn down an opportunity like that? The day passed slowly. Logan worked mechanically, his head somewhere else. In the late afternoon, when the office was quiet and Emma was drawing in her little room, Logan opened his laptop. He looked at the emails Richard had sent, renderings of the project, contract details. It was all real, all incredible. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath. "I've spent so much time building for others," he murmured to himself. Huge buildings that other people would inhabit, houses that other families would call home, projects that bore his name but didn't touch his heart. He opened his eyes and looked around the office. He saw Danielle at her desk, focused on the computer screen. He saw Emma appear at the door of her little room, yawning. He saw Villa Emma on the shelf. But now, I want to build here, with them. The decision crystallized in his chest, clear, right. It wasn't about the money, it wasn't about the prestige, it wasn't about the dream project. It was about waking up and wanting to go to the office, because people he loved would be there. It was about shared coffees and a child's laughter. It was about building something real, not just in concrete and glass, but in human connection. He had spent years building for others. Maybe it was time to build for himself. Logan picked up the phone and dialed the international number. Richard answered after a few rings. "Logan, great to hear from you." "I hope you're calling with good news. "I'm calling with a decision," Logan said calmly, "and I need to thank you for the incredible opportunity. It truly is the kind of project any architect would dream of leading." "But," Richard caught the hesitation, "but I'm going to have to decline. I have commitments here that I can't leave. People who depend on me." There was a pause on the other end. "I see, that's a shame, Logan. You would have been perfect for it." "I know, and I appreciate the confidence, but my answer is no." After a few minutes of politely ending the conversation, Logan hung up. He sat for a moment, waiting to feel regret or doubt, but he only felt relief and certainty. Danielle appeared at the door a few minutes later. "Are you okay? You seem different." "I just turned down the Dubai project." She stood there, processing. "You turned it down?" "I turned it down." "But why?" "It was a huge opportunity." Logan stood up, walking until he was close to her. "Because I realized I already have everything I need right here. I don't want to spend 2 years on the other side of the world building something that means nothing to me. I want to stay here, with you and Emma." Danielle blinked rapidly, her eyes shining. "Logan, you two changed everything." "Danielle, the office, my routine, my life. I don't want to give that up." She didn't say anything. She just stepped forward and hugged him. It was a tight, meaningful hug. Logan returned it, closing his eyes, feeling the certainty of his decision solidify even more. When they separated, they were both smiling. "Thank you," Danielle whispered. "You don't have to thank me. It was a selfish decision. I did it because I wanted to." Emma appeared at the door, looking curious. "Why are you guys hugging?" "Because Uncle Logan is staying," Danielle said, her voice emotional. "Was he going to leave?" "No," Logan replied, crouching down to her level. I'm staying right here." Emma smiled and jumped into his arms. The following Saturday, Logan extended an invitation. "I'd like you to come over for lunch at my house." "If you want." Danielle hesitated for only a second before accepting. Logan's house was in a quiet neighborhood. It was large, modern, all glass and clean lines. The front yard was well kept but impersonal. Emma got out of the car with wide eyes. "Do you live here all by yourself?" "I do." "It's huge," Logan laughed, opening the front door. "Come on in. Make yourselves at home." The inside was exactly as Danielle expected. Modern, minimalist, impeccably organized, designer furniture, art on the walls, everything in its right place. But something was missing. Life, personality, warmth. Emma didn't waste any time. She ran through the rooms, exploring every space with a child's natural curiosity. "How many bedrooms are there?" she yelled from upstairs. "4, Logan yelled back, smiling. Danielle walked slowly through the living room, observing the details. It was beautiful, but empty in a way that went beyond furniture. "It's a beautiful house," she commented, "but—" Logan caught the hesitation. "But it looks more like a showroom than a home." He looked around as if seeing it for the first time. "You're right. I never really thought about it. It's just where I sleep and keep my things." Emma came running back, her footsteps echoing on the hardwood floor. "Uncle Logan, you have a whole room just for books." "I do." "Do you like books?" "I love them." "Then we can read some after lunch." Logan had made pasta. Because Danielle had mentioned it was Emma's favorite food, they ate at the large kitchen table, talking and laughing. Emma continued exploring afterward, running between rooms, touching things carefully but with infinite curiosity. At one point, she stopped in the middle of the living room, looking around. "You know what this house is, Uncle Logan?" "What?" "It was pretty, but it was empty. Now it has people in it." The words came out simple, honest, from the mouth of a 5-year-old child, but they struck something deep. Logan looked at Emma, then at Danielle. He saw them there in the middle of his house that had never really felt like his, and he realized Emma was right. The house was beautiful, but it had been empty, a place to sleep, nothing more. Now, with Emma's laughter echoing, with Danielle smiling in the kitchen doorway, with life filling the spaces, now it was a home. Logan smiled, feeling something warm and right settle in his chest. You're absolutely right, Emma. It has people now. Danielle smiled too, her eyes meeting his across the room. And in that moment, they both knew. Something had definitively changed. They were no longer just a boss and an employee. They were no longer just acquaintances helping each other out. They were something more, something that was growing, solid and true, something that looked a lot like family. The weeks following that lunch changed everything without changing a thing. The routine at the office stayed the same. Danielle arrived at 8 with Emma, and Logan was already there with coffee ready. They worked side by side or had lunch together, and Emma moved between her little room and the main office. But there was something different in the air. A good tension, a quiet expectation, glances that lasted a little longer, smiles that meant unsaid things, hands that touched when passing documents and lingered a second longer than necessary. Logan started having dinner with them a few nights a week. He would bring food or cook in their tiny apartment. Emma always vibrated with excitement when he showed up, running to the door before he even knocked. Danielle watched it all with a mix of happiness and fear. Happiness because she finally had something good. Fear because good things didn't last. They never had in her life. It was a Thursday night. Logan had brought pizza and was sitting on the floor with Emma, playing a simple card game she had gotten. Danielle was washing dishes at the tiny sink, watching them through the small opening that looked into the living room. Emma laughed loudly every time she won. Logan pretended to be devastated by his losses, which made her laugh even more. "I won again!" Emma threw the cards up in celebration. "You're unbeatable today," Logan admitted, gathering the cards. "You must be a world champion." "I'm the best," Danielle smiled, drying her hands. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. Logan noticed. Of course, he noticed. He had learned to read her over these months together. "Emma, how about you go brush your teeth and put on your pajamas? It's almost bedtime." "Oh, but I want to play more." "We'll play again tomorrow, I promise." Emma considered, then agreed. She gave Logan a quick kiss and ran to the bathroom. Logan stood up and walked to the kitchen where Danielle was still standing. "Is everything okay?" "Yes, it is." The answer came out too automatically. "Danielle." She finally looked at him. There was fear in her green eyes. I don't know how to do this." "Do what?" "This." She gestured vaguely between them. "Trust. Believe that it will last. That you won't wake up one day and realize you've made a huge mistake. That we're a burden, a problem you didn't ask for." Logan took a step closer. "Look at me." He waited until she raised her eyes. "Do you really think I'm here out of obligation? That I stay late with you and Emma because I feel guilty or something?" "I don't know what you feel. I don't know if this is real for you or if it's just temporary kindness." "Temporary kindness," Logan repeated, almost laughing at the absurdity. "Danielle, I turned down my dream project. Dubai, international prestige, life-changing money. I turned it all down because I couldn't imagine being away from you. But what if you regret it? What if in a year you wake up and realize you threw your career away for you?" Logan interrupted. "I didn't throw anything away. I chose something better. I chose to have a real life instead of just a career." Danielle shook her head, her eyes burning. "You don't understand. I'm afraid of losing all of this. I've lost so much in my life. My parents, my dreams, every good thing that came along. And now you two are here, and Emma loves you, and I—" She stopped, her voice failing. "And you?" Logan asked gently. "And I do too." The words came out in a broken whisper. "I love you too. And it terrifies me because I know that when you leave, it will hurt more than anything I've ever lost." Logan held her face between his hands carefully, as if she was something precious. "I'm not leaving, Danielle. I'm not. You have my heart completely. And I want to take care of you. Both of you. Forever. Forever is a long time. It's not long enough." A tear ran down her face. Logan wiped it away with his thumb. "But what if I want to go back to school?" Danielle asked suddenly, testing him. "Finish my degree. That would be years of—" "Then you will," Logan interrupted without hesitation. "You'll go back to school. I'll hold down the fort here. I'll take care of Emma when you have class. I'll help with whatever you need. Now it's your turn to have your dreams back. Danielle sobbed, covering her face with her hands. Why are you doing this? Because I love you. Simple, direct, true. Because you two are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Because I want to wake up every day and see Emma running around the office. I want to have coffee with you every morning. I want to be here when she learns to read, when she grows up, when you achieve your dreams. I want all of it. Danielle threw herself into his arms, crying on his shoulder. Logan held her tight, one hand on the small of her back, the other in her blonde hair. I love you too, she whispered against his chest. I'm so scared, but I love you. I know, and it's okay to be scared, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. They stayed like that for long minutes, just holding each other, letting years of loneliness and fear slowly dissolve. A soft sound made them both pull apart. Emma was standing in the bathroom doorway, in her pajamas, toothbrush in hand, looking at them with those big blue eyes that were too wise for a 5-year-old. Are you guys crying? She asked, concerned. Just a little, Danielle said, quickly wiping her face. But it's okay. Emma dropped her toothbrush and walked over to them. She stood there, studying them both. Is Uncle Logan going to live with us now? The question caught them both off guard. Logan knelt down to her level. Do you want me to live with you? I do. Then you'll always be here. And you can read me a story every night before bed, and we can always have breakfast together. Logan looked at Danielle over Emma's head. She nodded slightly, a small but real smile on her lips. Then I think I'll look for a bigger place for the three of us, Logan said, turning his attention back to Emma. A place that's really ours, with a really cool room for you. Emma's eyes widened. Really? A room all to myself? All yours. You can pick the colors, decorate it however you want. Emma jumped for joy, then stopped suddenly. Her little face grew serious, thoughtful. Uncle Logan? Yes. She took a step closer, placing her small hands on his face, mimicking the gesture she had seen him make with her mother. I have a daddy now, it's you. The entire world stopped. Logan was completely still. His eyes filled with tears he didn't try to hide. He pulled Emma into a tight hug, his face buried in her blonde hair. Really? His voice was hoarse, emotional. Are you sure? I'm sure. You take care of us. You play with me. You make Mommy smile. Daddies do that, right? Logan couldn't answer with words. He just held her tighter, his shoulders shaking slightly. Danielle knelt beside them, one hand on Logan's back, the other stroking Emma's hair. She was crying too, but they were happy tears this time, tears of relief, of joy, of finally having found something solid. I love you, little one, Logan finally managed to say. So much, so much. I love you too, Daddy. The word broke something inside him. Daddy. He had never thought he would be a father. He never thought he would have that. And now he did, not by biology, but by choice, by love. No one said anything else for a long time. They didn't need to. They stayed there, the three of them, hugging on the floor of that tiny apartment, feeling the weight of everything that had changed. Emma was the first to pull away, yawning. I'm sleepy now. Logan laughed through his tears, wiping his face. Let's get you to bed then. They did the nighttime routine together. Logan read the story, making different voices that made Emma laugh. Danielle tucked in the blanket, gave a goodnight kiss. Emma was almost asleep when she held Logan's hand. Will you be here tomorrow? I'll be here tomorrow and every day after that. Promise? I promise. Satisfied, Emma closed her eyes and fell asleep. Logan and Danielle left the room in silence. They went to the tiny living area that served as a living room. I'm sorry if that was too fast, Danielle said quietly, Emma saying that. If you're not ready for... Logan pulled her in for a kiss. Their first kiss, soft, slow, full of promises. When they separated, they were both smiling. I'm ready for everything, he said. To be her father, to be your partner, to build a life with you. It's going to be messy, Danielle warned. I come with baggage, trauma, fears. Me too. But we'll figure it out together. They talked late into the night, about plans, about the future, about what it would be like to look for a bigger place. Logan insisted that Danielle go back to school, that he would take care of everything necessary. You deserve to achieve your dreams too, he said firmly. It's not just about me and Emma. It's about you. Around midnight, Logan finally got ready to leave. Can I come back tomorrow? He asked at the door. You're always welcome, always. He gave her one more kiss, long and sweet. I love you. I love you too. The following Saturday, the three of them went to the bakery, the same bakery where it had all begun months ago. Emma was between them, holding both of their hands. She swung her arms happily, making the adults swing along with her. Mommy? Yes, sweetie? We're a family now, right? Danielle looked at Logan. He smiled, squeezing Emma's little hand. Yes, Logan answered. A family that we built with care, brick by brick. Moment by moment, Emma thought about it, then nodded, satisfied. I like this family. Me too, Danielle said, her voice emotional. Me too, Logan echoed. They entered the bakery together. The smell of fresh bread was the same. The window display sparkled with the same pastries and cakes, but everything was different now. They were no longer a desperate woman and a hungry child. They were no longer a stranger offering charity. They were a family, imperfect, patched together from broken pieces, but real, solid, built not by accident, but by choice, by love. They sat at the same table where they had sat on that first day. Emma ordered chocolate cake, as always. Danielle had coffee. Logan just watched the two of them with a smile on his face. What are you thinking about? Danielle asked, taking his hand across the table. That I've spent my whole life building things. Buildings, houses, structures. But this... He looked at Emma eating her cake, then at Danielle. This is the most important thing I've ever built. And it doesn't even need a blueprint or a plan, it just needed heart. Danielle squeezed his hand, her eyes shining. Emma looked up, her face covered in chocolate. Can I have another piece? You can, Logan and Danielle answered together, laughing. It was a simple moment. A family in a bakery on a Saturday morning. Nothing extraordinary to an outsider. But for the three of them, it was everything. It was the beginning of something that had been built slowly, with care, with genuine love. It was proof that sometimes the best things in life don't come from grand plans or incredible opportunities. They come from simple gestures, from outstretched hands, from open hearts. They come from choosing people over prestige, from choosing love over fear, from choosing to build a home instead of just a career. And as they sat there, the three of them